Hi, I'm Chef Dale. Welcome to the ATCO Blue Flame Kitchen. Now we're going to make the most amazing brownies you've ever tasted. Now all the recipes I've been doing so far today, all in our recipe books. So when you come in to visit the school, from your school, we can come in and grab a recipe sheet. So let's temper up some chocolate. So the first thing I've done here is turn the pot on, get it to the boil, then add your unsalted butter, 200 grams of dark chocolate, and about 50 grams of brown sugar. So tempering means you want to get it just on that sort of molten stage like that. And just by using a spatula here, just give that a good mix. Keep on mixing that and melting and mixing until everything is nice and shiny. So I'm tempering the chocolate off direct heat. Chocolate doesn't like too much heat. So that's melting nice and smooth. Another good tip to do when working with the eggs, make sure you take the eggs out of the fridge for a couple of hours. Much easier to get them whipped up. Okay, that's all just about melted through. Okay, next thing we need to do is we have about 200 grams of caster sugar. We have 2 eggs. Just pop them in there. Again, much better at room temperature. And then the vanilla, I just love vanilla. I don't even bother measuring it. Oh yeah, that will do. About 2 to 3 tablespoons. You can just go nuts with it. So what I need to do, I need to peek this out. All that does, it's like you would scramble eggs. So hold the whisk, something like a pencil, and just tilt the bowl slightly this way, and just work that in through the sugar like that. I want just to melt the sugar into the egg, into the vanilla, so it kind of looks like nice, yellow, and pale. So these guys are pretty happy. So I start my whisking, and just check. Okay. I think a bit too much vanilla in it, but who cares? Okay, that's nicely whipped. Let's pop that to the side. Next thing we need to do is to mix all our dried stuff together. So in through a sieve, we've got some plain flour. Don't use self-rising. Whatever you don't use self-rising. So in goes your plain flour. Here we've got 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder and a little bit of baking powder. That's going to allow the brownie to rise up slightly, but also I want this nice gooey chocolate finish in the middle. And you need to sieve this at least twice. So that's once. Just so all the distribution is nice and even. Transfer your next bowl. Back through there. Do your final sieve. Very, very, very important you do this. Okay, so that's my dried stuff ready to go. Let's switch our tool to a whisk. We're going to finally melt that chocolate and butter together so it's nice and smooth. Just like that. Very happy. So first thing you add would be your egg. Now this recipe that I'm using here, even though everyone's been doing brownies for ages, the recipe actually comes from the 1840s. When chocolate was first introduced to the Americas. Imagine that long ago. So some lady named Fanny Farmer decided to use chocolate in a cake that didn't work, so they called them brownies. So nice and fudgy. So that's the egg and sugar. Now in goes our sifted flour, cocoa powder, baking powder. And from now we've got to switch tools. You notice I'll be using the bowl here just to keep that bowl nice and static. So just keep on folding. Cut through the middle, draw to the outside. Now it's a good idea while I'm doing this here that my chocolate mixture is still warm, which is key to making really good fluffy brownies. Meanwhile, before I started this, we're going to set the oven to about 150 C. These take between 35 and 40 minutes. I wouldn't do it any longer than that or else you won't get that lovely gooey texture. Okay, just fold that in. So that's pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, next, I would recommend when you're doing your brownies, use a fry pan, a good heavy base fry pan with a handle, so it's much easier for you guys to get out. So what I've done first is I put a bit of unsalted butter on the base of that. Now we need to make a template. So you just get some kitchen paper, put that over the top of your fry pan, make sure it exceeds the diameter. Measure that, so it does. We want to fold this in half. This is so it's not going to stick to the bottom. And half again. Just like that. This is your center point here. I want to fold over that way and roll this side as tight as you can, as tight as you can. This is so easy to do. Okay, reverse your pan like this. Put your right in the middle and work your hand right to the outside and just enough room so you can grip that to remove it from the pan once it comes out of the oven. So take that, give that a cut, open it up, and there you have your perfect template. That sits there nice and snug. And you can see what the butter's doing now is making sure I've got a nice flat bottom. Very, very, very important. Okay, so that's all good. Now at this stage now you can add your walnuts in there if you like, whatever you want to put in. You can put in almonds, marshmallows, doesn't really matter. So let's pour that in. Just like that. So just use your spatula and just work from the inside to the outside. So you have a nice, even distribution. So making sure that the brownie mixture is nicely distributed in my pan, I just give it a couple of taps just to even it out, make sure there's no air bubbles in there. Now it's going to pop that into the oven. In about 30-35 minutes, your whole house will smell like chocolate. Okay, after around 35-40 minutes, your brownie should be ready. The best thing to do is allow it to cool to room temperature nice and slow. Just leave it out, but make sure you put a guard in front of it or else it might disappear. So at this stage now, we're gonna do a bit of a transfer. So I'm gonna use two different type of cutting boards and we'll show you how to transfer out of the pan without breaking it. So in goes your pan. This is what it looks like when it comes out of the oven. You have a nice sort of like a mirror finish on top of that. You place your cutting board on top, hold it, look at that. Now it's upside down. So we're going to take this over the top like this, flip it over, and we haven't broken it. So let's do a bit of portioning. So in our Blue Flame kitchen, we do have a whole source of edible flowers. We have herbs. We have all sorts of things growing because some of the items that you do use when you come in are actually growing in our garden, which is fantastic. Okay, so let's have a go. It's nice and soft so far. Nice chocolate, sort of ganache fudgy in the middle. I'm liking that. Look at that. Nice. So make sure you do these nice small portions. Now, if you do have a couple bits of brownie left over, let's say you have something like that, it's not enough to feed the whole family, put that in some ice cream. It makes the most amazing brownie ice cream. So cut these into different sporadic sizes, just like this. Diamond is a good shape, but something like that. So then you can put some strawberries or some flowers or something in between there just to make a nice presentation. You can see how they're nice mounting. You can show off the chocolate in the center of the brownie. And I guarantee you're guaranteed you can only eat just one. Okay, I'm looking at that, liking that. So we got some pure icing sugar here. So with a bowl like this, it just prevents making a bit of a mess. So hold the bowl underneath like this and just give it a bit of a drizzle. Then catch your drizzle. And over here we have some edible flowers that can sit on top for good presentation. Keep it really simple. There you go. Some ATCO Blue Flame brownies. Very, very, very famous.